Changed is the Aerotropolis provision. Instead of having both the freight forwarder tax credit piece in there and also the provision dealing with giving owners or builders of new warehouses a tax credit, that's been taken out. So those have been taken out. We have actually stepped down the cap on low income and historic, starting at 110 million on low income and stepping that down to about 70 million, and doing the same with historic. So those are the two big changes. Erosion of support for Aerotropolis. Obviously, back in April of this year and first part of May, we passed a economic development bill that had Aerotropolis in it, and it gotten 32 votes and only 2 against. And so the opposition to Aerotropolis has worked hard and effectively over the last 6 weeks or better, and it's obviously worked. And I think there's more questions that have been asked by senators, and more information has been obtained. And so what they once felt comfortable with, now they don't feel too comfortable with.
In the last few days, there's still more education and still more process. It's not just the Senate, it's the House. So we'll have to see. I think at the end of the day, the one thing that has become abundantly clear is there is no deal. So now we're kind of seeing if there is an ability to reach a consensus on this legislation. The Senate is pretty unified in that it has concerns with particular aspects of this quote-unquote deal, but it's still a process and we're still going through.
Senator, can you support last night to get ready to go on the floor today? I think they're focused, as they should be, on how to transform the economy and create jobs in the future. I think there's as we move through the afternoon and evening, there's going to be some details to work out. I do think it's important to note that the first step, the freight forwarding step, to make sure that we have St. Louis as a centerpiece for some of this trade opportunities is important, as well as the opportunities that can come for infrastructure investment through our Compete Missouri program as it moves through. So I think there's lots of ways to do this, and I'm also heartened by the fact that they're working to pay for it. Working late into the night to try to make sure that this bill scores out in a way that the Missouri taxpayers can afford.
Can Compete Missouri be a substitute for the warehouse?
Well, I mean, I think there are some versions of there are some provisions of Compete Missouri that certainly help when it comes to infrastructure investment, not only for trade, but for many other things that are also important. The bottom line is that these folks have taken seriously the responsibility they've got here. They've been working hard. I expect there to be a spirited debate this afternoon, but we think that the last 24 hours have put us closer to the goal we all want, which is have a fiscally disciplined way in which we can move towards the state of Missouri, continue to expand our exports, and have an economy of significant dollars.
Governor, do you support the bill? Do you support the bill without the $300 million in tax credits?
I mean, they're working to
Yes or no, Governor?
Let's see what they put on the floor here.
You can't say that you support it right now?
Saying this is a work in progress. We feel that if you look at this, that it's important to have the freight forwarding piece in there so that you can prime this up, and that there are methods through the Compete Missouri portion of this to help infrastructure that I think that I'm confident can be used to assist in this process.
And there's some discussions about reducing it even more, although I know they just took the whole, as I understand, they just took the whole thing out, that whole component out. But the process is not yet over. In the end, if a bill is passed, it's called Aerotropolis, but it doesn't provide the necessary incentives to make this work, then then what's going to happen is we're not going to have an international trade hub in Missouri, and there are going to be a lot of jobs and economic opportunities I think going to be lost.
So the $60 million for the freight forwarders, if that's all there is, that's insufficient.
That is insufficient to do what we want to do. That's true.